It's Dave Johal once again with top welterweight prospect who is yet to make his debut, and hopefully you can give us a few more dates as to when that's going to happen. Jonathan Kumuteo. How are you, Jonathan?
I'm fine, thank you. And yourself?
I'm good, I'm good. Last time we spoke, it seems like a million years ago now. It was just when COVID was announced, your debut was going to be in April. Before we go into everything that's been going on, have you received any dates yet? Because shows are now beginning to take place, aren't they? Whether they're behind closed doors or there's talks of some stadiums opening up as well. So what's the latest on yourself there, JK?
Well, unfortunately, there is no latest on myself. You know, I was told to prepare for August, in which I got straight back in the gym and prepared for. And then towards the end of July, I was told to prepare for September. And now September is around the corner. So still no date, but they have told me, you know, you can have up to 4 weeks notice. So stay ready. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So, you know, we're living in crazy times, so I can't really complain too much, but it is what it is. No date, but we're staying ready.
Yeah, I bet you're itching to go, aren't you? I mean, you've seen the division kind of light up. No doubt you saw what happened on Saturday night as well with Congo and also Luther Clay exchange belts and
Yeah.
that was slated to be a 50-50 fight, and Congo just kind of took him apart. You're seeing this in your division, and I bet you're thinking, I want to be part of this sooner.
100%. Yeah, 100%. You know, I personally thought Chris was going to win, and he won in great fashion. You know, it wasn't that easy. Luther wasn't actually, he was tough, and he definitely came to win. You know, he was the champion, and Chris hit him with some very good shots, and he done very well to last 9 rounds. But you know, I know Chris Congo quite well, and I know that even though he was out of the ring for about 16 months or so, he stays in the gym all year round, and he's in shape, and he's a great welterweight fighter.
What do you think now of the division now with, you know, Conor Benn, Eko Usman, you know, Josh Kelly as well? There's so many names now, isn't there? And Congo winning the WBO title, albeit it's you know, an international title, but it still holds him in great stead and also elevates him in the rankings there. It opens up the division even more, right?
Yeah, in my opinion, you know, having known Chris, he really deserved that. You know, I feel as though he hasn't really been given the chance before the show that he deserved. You know, he's won all his fights. He was 11-0 with, I believe, was it 6 KOs? And now he's 12-0 with 7 KOs. And, you know, he was on the GB squad as an amateur. I believe he even boxed Josh Kelly as an amateur. So, you know, he definitely deserved that shot, and he shined. As for the rest of the division, it's very competitive. The domestic division is quite exciting right now. But if I'm honest, in regards to myself, I'm not really interested in anybody other than myself. You know, we're all at different stages in our careers. We will all cross paths eventually. But as for now, I'm happy for Chris. But for other people, I'm not really interested, if I'm honest with you. I'm just interested in myself, my progression and my career. I'm just preparing for this professional debut. I need to look spectacular. You know, I've been putting in a lot of work, and I just can't wait for the date. But if I don't get it now, if it's behind closed doors or when the crowds return, it doesn't matter. But, you know, how I look at it as well is apparently the crowds will be allowed from October. So, you know, we're a few days shy of September. So I'm thinking, would it be better to wait? Or, you know, should I just get onto the team and pressure them to give me a date ASAP? So I'm in lingo right now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a card which is getting the fans' mouths watering, the press, people around the world, is Joyce Dubois, and I bet there's, you know, so many people wanting to be on that card. I mean, you know, how would you feel if you were on that spectacular event? Because that's the next one in October, isn't it?
Yeah, October 24th at the O2 Arena. Man, that would be a dream come true to debut at the O2, wow, that's what I have to say. It will just be wow. And I will definitely rise up to the occasion. I hope I get the opportunity. If I don't, I know I will box at the O2 in the future. So, I'm not too fast. I just want to get a date. You can imagine I've been training for many months. Originally we were meant to go out in April. The pandemic happened. So I'm very patient, knowing and understanding what's going on, and it isn't their fault. Everything is based off the government right now. So I'm just patiently waiting. But to be on the show on October 24th, that would be so cool. That would be amazing. But I don't think the show will go on unless they allowed the full crowd, in my opinion.
Mm. You need a crowd for something like that, don't you? Something that big.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's like if which I'm going to get your opinion on AJ and Fury next as well, and Dillian Whyte. But for fights like that, for that magnitude, you need people there, right? You need people there,
Yeah.
to draw in the excitement and things like that.
Yeah. What may I ask actually? What's your take on the behind closed doors shows right so far?
To be fair, as a spectator, it's what's expected. I suppose I envisioned it to be how it is because there's no crowd. At first, I thought, how can they pull it off? But I'll be honest with you, when I saw the fight camp set up and also Frank Warren's BT setup, a lot of thought has gone into that. And even your friend Isaac Chamberlain on the Saturday behind closed doors as well.
Yeah, that was actually, I actually want to say something about that behind closed door show that Channel 5 put on. That was, in my opinion, that was spectacular. You couldn't really see out of the ring. It was very colorful. I like the way they had the whole screen set up. It kind of looked like a movie. And I wasn't expecting that. So I think that everybody that has put on a show behind closed doors thus far, including MTK, has done very well, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's been difficult as well, I suppose, as promoters, because and from the media aspect as well, because we rely a lot on fans' reactions and the cheers and everything like that. So it is difficult. Bob Arum, I think, did one of the first shows, didn't he, with Shakur Stevenson back in June, I think.
Albeit
the opponent for Shakur was questionable, but the show still had to go on. I think like you as well, that we can only have so much, and it is what it is, isn't it? But certainly for Dubois and Joyce, and when it comes to AJ and Fury, we will need, I suppose, the gate, the crowd, and
especially AJ and Fury, we have to have a crowd. There's no way we can do that on behind closed doors. Impossible. It doesn't make sense whatsoever.
100%. I mean, what did you think of on Saturday night, the main event, Povetkin and Dillian Whyte? First of all, did you see that coming?
I just didn't. You know what? Let me explain my situation. So on Saturday, there was two shows. There was a clash of interest for me.
Yeah.
Chris Congo was boxing on Sky. Katie Taylor, Dillian Whyte, and a few other fights I was interested in. But on that particular fight, Isaac Chamberlain was boxing, and he's a very close friend of mine. So I had Isaac Chamberlain on the big screen, and I had Dillian Whyte on the MacBook. And as I was watching the fight, I was watching Isaac's one actually, and I glanced down at the screen and I just saw Dillian Whyte drop. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, oh my God. It was crazy. And I think I've watched it back about 50 times, that clip. Like, it was perfect. You can't say it was a lucky punch because everything about it was perfect. If you actually watch the previous round, especially, Povetkin kept on feinting left and feinting right. And then he kept on going to the body to Dillian Whyte. So I think what happened was Dillian pulled out his right hand, and as Povetkin slipped and hit him with the uppercut, and it was just, wow. That was like boxing porn, honestly.
Yeah,
it was.
If no one's seen boxing and they've seen that, you'd be saying, this is what boxing is. This is what heavyweight boxing is. But to be fair, it's fair to say as well, Dillian was winning the fight, apart from just that knockdown. Sorry, the knockout, which
Yeah.
could have put anyone out. The way it was
I,
timed, the way it was landed.
yeah, even his body composition after he threw the punch. You know, in boxing, a lot of times when there's like a one-punch knockout, you know, after the fighter lands the punch, he's off balance, he's almost falling, but his body composition was just perfect. He just knew. He didn't even celebrate. He just walked away to the neutral corner, and mad. I still can't believe it. I literally, you know, like I said, I was watching Isaac Chamberlain's fight at the same time. I had to watch that fight back before I slept. And I went on YouTube, right? And there was about 500K views within 6 hours from that fight. And it's crazy. It's actually mad. It's mad. And it definitely shook up the division, because now, you know, he's been mandatory for over 1,000 days. And now if he wins his title back in the rematch, he's probably going to have to wait another 2 years, in my opinion.
Yeah, which is a shame considering the the length it's took to get this far. And going on to someone that you know well, AJ and Fury now, that's gonna more or less it's kind of nailed on, isn't it? AJ, good friend of yours, has to get through Pulev.
Yeah.
Wilder, Fury has to beat Wilder again, and then the big showdown is on. Fingers crossed and everything like that. So, without being biased as well, how do you see that fight going down? Fight one of possibly three there, JK.
In my opinion, I don't see the fight happening
Wow. Okay.
this year or next year. Reason why I say that is everybody's sleeping on Usyk. Remember, he's the WBO mandatory. In my opinion, he beats Chisora. You know, I love Chisora, but in my opinion, he beats Chisora, and I don't think they will step aside to let that undisputed fight happen. So AJ, in a sense, has to fight Pulev, Usyk, and then he can think about fighting Tyson Fury. And the way things are going with the pandemic, AJ hasn't fought this year. I don't really see AJ fighting this year again, in my opinion, at all this year, in fact. So therefore, because he's a pay-per-view fighter, he only really fights twice a year now. So if he's got to fight Pulev and then Usyk, we're looking at 2022. That's my answer. But, you know, as for Tyson Fury, I think he wins the rematch with Wilder. 2022, the fight with AJ happens. I just don't see it happening any time beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, we were very close to getting AJ versus Wilder when, you know, I think the hottest moment was a couple of years ago now when it was AJ versus Takam, and I can't remember who Wilder was fighting, but at that moment it was peaking. It was like a Cold War, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
if only contracts were signed. The Ring magazine did a fantastic cover with AJ versus Wilder on there, and fans were getting warmed up. And hopefully we don't, you know, we get to see AJ. Hopefully it happens and comes into fruition, because it will be one of those what if sort of moments, you know, kind of like Calzaghe and Froch, you know.
I think it will happen, but I just don't see it happening this year or next year. This year because of the pandemic, and next year. But, you know, if COVID never happened, we would have probably saw that next summer.
It's killed off quite a few things. And going back to you know, your division, which is very hot at the moment as well, worldwide. Terrance Crawford.
Yeah.
Yep. So Terrance Crawford, apparently as well, some negotiations were going to happen with Thurman. Do you still think he is the man at that weight? Is he the bloke to beat?
Yeah, in my opinion, Terrance Crawford, pound for pound, number one, still, in my opinion. I mean, you can argue for Canelo to be pound for pound number one, but for me, it's Terrance Crawford. And him versus Thurman, he beats Thurman. I mean, at 43, was it 43-year-old Pacquiao beat Thurman? Thurman isn't the same. I think Thurman is still a great fighter, but the way Pacquiao beat him, wow, I don't know. I don't think he'll be the same. And with Crawford, he just adapts to everybody's style. There's no one has come close to even challenging him. So I think he beats Thurman.
And what about Spence Jr.? Do you think that there's still something left after the post crash? I mean, he's due to possibly fight, or I think he is going to fight Danny Garcia, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm a big Danny Garcia fan, so I'd like to see Danny do well. I don't know if Danny can beat him, but you know, I've been watching Danny Garcia for years, since before he even beat Amir Khan. But I must say, it depends, you know, because that crash was a huge crash, in my opinion. And he did disappear for a few months. And you know, when you're at the top, small percentages make huge differences. So, you know, we'll have to see what he looks like against Danny, because he has also been out the ring for a long time. And then we can make a decision on who wins between Spence and Crawford.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And going on to you then, training wise,
Mm-hmm.
the fight, no doubt. Sorry, but your debut, no doubt, will happen because you're signed with Frank Warren, and one of the things that Frank Warren has done, similar to Eddie Hearn during lockdown, is sign up a lot of fresh talent. You know, from Amar
Mm-hmm.
Akbar to yourself. Eddie Hearn signed, I think, John Hedges with S-Chan Boxing managing him as well. So a lot of deals have gone on behind closed doors. So it's not like it's not going to happen. So what have you been doing training wise? I've seen you on Insta training with Isaac as well at the gym, getting your drills done and everything like that. Has that been a motivation?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually very cool to train with someone like Isaac, because, you know, since my professional transition, most of the time it's myself and my boxing coach in the gym, one-to-one. And then it's either, if it's not him, it's myself and my strength and conditioning coach. We only ever really mixed up with other fighters in sparring. So at the beginning of lockdown, me, Isaac, and my friend Timmy, we all promised each other that we would isolate for 3 weeks and then get together and train. You know, I had access to the pro gym.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else had the keys. So that was very cool. And we all trained together, and it was definitely motivational to train alongside Isaac. You know, he's on a whole different level. And for me, it was quite interesting to actually witness how fast he is, considering how heavy he is. You know, he's a cruiserweight, and during the lockdown, if I'm honest, he was more of a heavyweight than he was a cruiser, and he was very rapid, very, very fit, fantastic movement, fantastic defense. You know, we even shared a few rounds behind closed doors, you know, a few rounds sparring, and it was motivational, to say the least. And it also reminded me how far I've got to go, if you understand where I'm coming from. You know, sometimes, like I said, when you spend just one-to-one time with your coach, you're not really comparing. And I'm not really one to compare, but when I trained alongside him, I just saw, wow, there's really levels. It reminded me of the levels in boxing. You know, his boxing IQ alone is far more advanced than myself, which I would expect, but it was a pleasant reminder, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair as well, you know, he hasn't fought in such a long time, and but the stoppage on Saturday night, that's just going to elevate him now, isn't it? And hopefully move him on to bigger things, because the win before that was Luke the Duke Watkins, which was another good name.
Yeah, that was 20 months ago now.
Yeah, it seems like a lifetime ago, doesn't it, to be fair?
Yeah, it's Isaac's story since his loss with Lance Okoli has been a roller coaster. You know, I've been there to witness it, and you know, tough times don't last, but tough people do. That's all I can say about it. And I think that on Saturday you could see that ring rust was present, but I can definitely reassure you that he has improved so much since his fight with Lawrence. And he didn't even get a chance to really show what he's been working on. But I think he's fighting in 2 weeks, so they've got him rolling.
On the Alex Steele Magani undercard, isn't he? Yeah, in a couple of
Yeah, so
which is good.
he's straight back in the gym.
Yeah, excellent. Just very finally then as well, JK, I know last time we spoke, your website was coming along, and people were following you on that as well. You've had some articles written about you in the Independent as well, some unboxing scenes, so you've got your name out there. But where can people follow you, just again for the fans?
Yeah, so you can follow me on all social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at JK Boxing.
Brilliant. Once again, thank you from the Boxing Voice, and please let us know when your debut is. Yes, as soon as
100%.
give us a bell, and then we'll definitely cover it.
I will definitely be in touch. Thank you, Dave. You know, I appreciate you reaching out and interviewing me again. You know, I haven't really had a video interview for a while. Hopefully the next one will be in the gym. And, you know, I'm just looking forward to making this debut. You know, I'm a very patient being. I do understand we're living in crazy times right now. So it's just another time to, you know, practice patience. But I'm sure you've seen on Instagram, I'm in shape. I'm in the gym every day. And I'm kind of getting tired of being in the gym every day. I just want a date. Or can they rule out some dates so I can take maybe a week off? But, you know, I can't wait. I look at it this way. Every week, I'm improving little by little. So the longer it really is, the better the debut is going to be. My situation isn't a case of I had my debut before the lockdown and then I'm losing momentum. That wasn't my case. So every week, I'm getting stronger, I'm getting faster, and I'm improving my boxing IQ. So 100%, I will box before the end of the year. Otherwise, I will cause a fuss. But I'm sure that Frank Warren will deliver, and it would be great to box in front of a crowd. You know, behind closed doors, it's cool. It's nice. Everybody's production has been great. But I think, you know, we're coming close to October. I wouldn't mind waiting an extra month to box in front of a crowd.
And I'm sure as well, with the team that you got behind you, Frank included, that the debut will come soon, because, you know, he signed up so many fresh fighters, as is Eddie Hearn, Bob Arum over lockdown. It's going to happen. You just let us know when it happens, yeah?
I will do 100%. And also, when the crowd is back, I've got something special for everybody. So I've got something special for everybody regardless. But when the crowd is back, oh man, it really is that time. I can't wait, honestly. Just even thinking about it now, I'm excited. But thank you, Dave. Shout out to the Boxing Voice. And, you know, subscribe. I'm going to watch this interview. I'm going to watch all the other interviews. Thank you very much, Dave.
Hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive, from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows. The list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.